Then we're working on my Mark II MX5, fixing what is probably the most common problem with MX5s, which is rusty sills. In the Mark II and the Mark I MX5s, because they're a soft top, they have drain holes either side off the soft top. When they get clogged with leaves and all that sort of crap, moss and everything, the water stops going through the drain holes at the bottoms and fills into the sills, so the sills then basically rot from the inside out. So when you get a tiny little hole on the outside and you think it's only a little bit of rust, you go at it and it turns out to be a lot more. I repaired this myself last year, but it was a really crappy job and it's starting to rust again already, so I'm going to do it a little bit better, as best I can this time. I've only welded twice before, last time when I done this, and then when I made the rails for the bucket seats in the lifted MX5. So I'll show you what I've after picking up. I picked up these new sill replacements. What I done accidentally is, this is basically the rear quarter part of the car, back right, like where mine is rusted through, but mine is the outer part here. I picked up this thinking it was the right piece, but it's actually the inner piece that I've picked up. So I'm just going to cut out some of this metal here and I'm going to use that for it. This is the inner piece, which might be needed, or hopefully it isn't. Main goal today is to take out the rusted piece of metal that's on the outer sill, to replace that, and then to file away any rust that's on the inside, prevent it happening again. I'm not going for a super clean finish, as I have these to go on over. These are some side skirts I picked up from MCG, so they're going to be covering the sills anyway. You can see this is the part where like the bottom of the sill will be, that's kind of rusted through. So once the new piece of metal stops the rust coming through again, I have it all painted up good. Once there's no more rust, I'm happy with that, as I'll have these nice new side skirts going on over it. So I know if I was repairing the sills to be painted again, I would have to have some very good welding work to go around and some good Bondo work for it to look good with a painted finish. But that's not the case with this, as I have side skirts going on. So I'm going to bring the car in now and cut out my crappy workmanship from last time and see how bad the rust is on the inside. After just cutting through the panel that I put in last year, I've done such a bad job at it that I didn't even spray the inside of this new piece of metal that I put in. So this time, one of the main things I'm going to do is, well, the metal I'm using anyway over there, it's kind of already painted on both sides. I'm sure it's weld through sort of primer as well, as their welding panels. But another thing I'm going to do is, once it's done, I'm going to pop out the kind of little panel here, and there's loads of little holes here. I'm going to spray everything from the inside. At the moment I'm looking at it, I'm definitely going to have to cut this over a bit more, see what's underneath there, as it's all black. The reason it looks a lot worse than it is, last time when I done it I used rust sort of remover. It basically just turns it black and you kind of spray over it. It's probably the worst thing you could use, because it's always going to come back anyway. So I have this rust remover, which is a little bit different. Basically you put it on, you leave it set for 20 minutes, and now I use a wire brush at it until I can get back to bare metal, so I'll know whether it's salvageable. It is that feels sturdy and strong, so I'd say it is just surface rust there. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's no kind of apparent holes I can see anyway, compared to some sills you see where this entire piece has rotted through. There's like nothing left down here. That all sounds sturdy enough. Nothing's really coming out, so it's really just the outside panel here. It's dripping wet in there as well, so I'm not sure if the drain holes are unclogged. I did do it during the week, so hopefully water isn't getting in there through somewhere else. It probably was. Another thing was as well, I used Bondo. I used Bondo when I was kind of going over the edges to make it look kind of a bit better, as my welding was fairly shite. This time I'm going to be using, it's like fiberglass sort of Bondo. Doesn't hold as much moisture. I've been told you shouldn't use Bondo down in these areas where they can kind of gather moisture, as it kind of absorbs it. It's kind of meant for more doors and panels and other pieces like that. So I'm using the fiberglass stuff this time, and hopefully it doesn't gather moisture, as it seems like this is. You can see in here, that's Bondo in there. It looks like it's just holding it all. So I'm going to go ahead now, bring this over a little bit, see what it looks like under there, and then I'm going to start using this and the wire brush I picked up to take off the surface rust on the inside. You look at that, there was actual metal underneath all that rust. You can see some parts here look like rust. They're not, they're just like burn marks from me going at it with the angle grinder. But this metal is definitely solid enough to stay, so this won't be coming out. Up here, that's not rust, that's just the black paint that was there before. So that's as far as I'm going with this. The repair panel that I got, thinking I would need the inner piece, which is this piece here. So I'm just going to cut out a section here and along the top, and that's what I'm going to use to fill in here. Metal has now been painted with the black paint. I've after taken off some of the plasti dip and the original car paint here for where I'm going to be welding, and I've after cutting this to roughly the right shape. At the back it is fairly perfect. I'll show you now. So you can see at the back here that fits in fairly perfectly. At the front it kind of goes a bit off, so I'm going to start welding here and then I'll cut this and push it into place as I'm going. It is now another day forward. I've after finishing the welding work on this. I'm not going to show the welding as it was pretty terrible. It was my second time welding, but I have it sitting in place. It's not moving or anything. There are little gaps in between the metal panel that I've put in and the original metal of the car, but I'm going to use some fiberglass filler just to fill that in, make it look nice and even. Before, when I done it last time, I used normal filler and apparently it holds moisture, and that's probably what added to the rust that was coming through again. So with the fiberglass, it doesn't hold any moisture, so hopefully we'll have better results this time. You can see down here it looks fantastic because there's no welding down here. It's all up the sides and on top, but there are little holes that I'm not going to show. It's all blurry, you can't see any of it. Oh no. Replacing the sills is now finished. You can see this is the back left side here that I've been filming. It looks pretty good, a little bit bumpy, a little bit rough, but that doesn't matter because these are going to go on. So I'm going to test fit these and show you what it's going to look like. So with the side skirts on here, you can see it completely covers up my work. I went to about there, so that's where the colour changes and the body work does get a little bit rough. And underneath it's fine because it's all sealed up and everything. So it's not too bad of a job since I have this to cover it up. If I didn't have these side skirts to go on, or if anyone's thinking of trying it and they're not putting side skirts around to cover it, you'd want to be fairly confident in welding. That was only my third time welding and I've never been shown or anything. I just had to go at it myself by watching a few videos and everything. So if you are better, maybe try it, but if you're not, I would probably get someone else to do the welding for you. That's probably the hardest piece out of all of this. Cutting it out, fixing the rust, you can definitely do yourself, spraying up and everything, but welding that in place is probably the hardest part. So I'm happy enough with my work since these are covering it all up. So in the next video I'm going to be removing all this crappy plasti dip, then I will be fitting all the body pieces like these side skirts, front splitter, and I'm waiting on a spoiler as well, so that'll all be going on soon enough. So I'll see you in the next video where I'm removing this paint.